Thank you all so much for asking me to come here and speak. I have a bad case of imposter syndrome because, of course, I took one of these pictures. You could probably guess which one. It's the one that Geof and the dog are in. I didn't, of course, take them, but I did. I was there when many of these photographs were taken, and Geof and I did have many conversations about them. And the postcard mentioned that this is new work from the artists. And of course, this isn't new work by Geof, but it's a new way of arranging some of his work, which is very special to me. And Judy hung it so beautifully and added some other photos that were here. So I really like seeing his pictures here along with Bill's. This is a tremendously special event because I've always so much admired Bill's photography and thought that Bill's and Geof's photography really came together in all sorts of wonderful, extraordinary ways. I wish I brought one of Geof's pictures of a door because there was one that would have echoed Bill's side of the gallery nicely. But anyway, happy to be here. And so what I have to say will be a little bit light on the photographer's craft because I don't do it, but hopefully I will have some things to say that will be worthwhile. So the blind harpist is, I'd say, the center photo of this show. We have this hanging in our living room. And it was always a very special picture to Geof and me because we were on one of our dream trips. We went to Machu Picchu and got to spend a whole day going there and stopping at, this was the last little town just before you reach Machu Picchu and ascend the mountain to see all of the ruins there. And so it just so happened that there were several people making music there. And one of them was this harpist who was blind. And so he was, as you can see, sitting next to this wall and playing the harp and singing. And he was in his own world. He was very serene, very happy. And many people, including us, felt very moved and went up and put money down for him and felt that we were so privileged to get a chance to see him. And so this is, just as Bill was saying, just one of those special moments that you can capture in a photograph and you can bring it back and it becomes part of your life. It's also special because the title of this photo is the only title that I know Geof actually chose. The other ones I had to make up, and I'm not sure he would like all of them, but hopefully they're close enough to what he might have thought was okay. This next one is called Cattleya Hybrid over Dark Ocean. And this is one of Geof's playful photos that I very much enjoyed. Clifford Geertz has a phrase, deep play, and I think that this photo represents deep play very well because it's playful in juxtaposing a Cattleya orchid over the ocean, but it's also very serious. I think it's making a statement, and that statement is going to vary according to what you think it might be as you look at it. But for me, what this photo seems to suggest is that you can have the somber view of moonlight over a dark ocean. And then just above it, you can have, courtesy of Photoshop layers, I know that much about the craft, you can have this well-lit, beautiful cluster of Cattleya orchids. And so to me, this is a photo that suggests hope in the middle of darkness. And I find it inspiring and just like having it in the house. The next one is called Children Ascending the Great Wall of China. And this was when we were on another one of our dream trips, spending 2 weeks in China with Grand Circle. And we got to spend one day going up to climb the wall, walk around, learn about its history. And these little girls were there along with some boys. And they were all so excited and happy to be climbing the Great Wall, just as we were. And I love in this picture that you can see their personalities so well from their faces. Some of them very serious, some of them kind of laughing. They look like they've just played a joke. The one in the middle looks like she pushing her little face in between her friends. So this kind of face picture is something that Geof came to a little later in his photographic career. He had retired in 2002, and then he decided he wanted to do photography seriously. And he was very happy to get to join the Cooperative Gallery and pursue photography. He started with flowers in my cousin Linda's garden. Whenever we went there for the family 4th of July party, he would spend hours out there taking portraits of all the flowers. And he went from flowers to orchids, Southern Tier Orchid Society member, very serious for many years. And then as we started to take more ambitious trips, he took more pictures of people's faces. He did one exhibition where he showed photos he had taken of different members of the gallery, including Ada Stallman at work, doing art in different ways. And he really enjoyed doing those faces. But it's similar to what you were saying, Bill, that sometimes when you've had a career that involves a lot of intense human interaction, it's just really nice to do something involving things, right? To say a flower is not going to say to you, what do you mean by that? What do you want to do about that? And so Geof really preferred the flowers for quite a while, and then he started doing these other things. This picture, I think, is mislabeled. I labeled it Waterfall in Norway. It might be Taganic Falls. What do you think? Have you been to Taganic Falls? It looks kind of like Taganic. Could be. It could be. Sorry about that. We didn't keep labels of the pictures around the house. We did have, and do still have, many waterfall pictures. Geof loved waterfalls. The moving water made him very happy. He liked to get up very close to the waterfalls, so close that sometimes he scared me that he was going to become one with the waterfall because he wanted to get all the light, all the motion, but yeah, somehow it worked out. This is Godafoss waterfall in Iceland, the especially large and beautiful one. And we spent about a full afternoon working on photographing that one because it was so large and so important. And Geof let me be his assistant. I carried his bag, and we spent time so he could get different poses of the waterfall and different kinds of light. I think this one came out really nicely, and it's an example of how carefully he would approach something, how long he would spend there until he got just the right shot. I know for probably all photographers, that's what you tend to do. You tend to take maybe 100 pictures for the one that is going to make you happy enough to hang it up on a wall. Okay, this one is from Peru. It's from a parade that was happening. This was also on our trip to Machu Picchu. And this was the moment when a little boy's face just peeked out between some people in costumes that were standing there. I love the bright colors of that picture. And that was just a fleeting moment when the little child was looking out. Where are my parents? What's going on? And Geof caught it right there. And you have to look at it for a moment to see that this is a face, because there's so many details of the headdresses and the clothes and everything else. This is another deep play picture because it involves using Photoshop layers to juxtapose different things to make, in this case, a political statement. This is called Stop the War in Ukraine. And if you see these objects around here, they're flowers, sunflowers, and I'm not sure what those pink ones are, but zinnias maybe. They look like zinnias. And this reminds me of the 60s song, Where Have All the Flowers Gone? Because it's in the midst of this very traumatic war situation. And Geof, like me, was very upset about the war and wanted to express how he felt about it. And so he put together this message, stop destruction and death across Ukraine. But then he created in layers these different flowers next to the clouds, just to show a kind of response, a kind of hope that peace might be possible after the trauma. of war. This is one of Geof's color reversal photos. I really loved seeing him make those color reversals. I know some of you have done those too. And this is a gourd that was, I think, originally orange and yellow, but it became, well, I used the title Rhapsody in Blue because I think it's so pretty and so joyful. What is brought out by color reversals? It brings out a whole other side of what it is that you're photographing. And sometimes the reversal comes out eerie and uncanny, such as one that Geof took of the Binghamton Nature Preserve, which showed the trees not bright green against a blue sky, but kind of stark white against a golden background. And that was perfect for me, who loves ghost stories, because that's the way the nature preserve pond looks at night if you're expecting something to come along and haunt you. So I like that picture a lot. And then one more playful picture, which I called Playful Puffins. We were in Costa Rica, and there were just a lot of puffins around. They had us climb up this big rickety structure, looked kind of like a climbing gym for adults who didn't mind risking their lives, all the way to the top, to this little rock up at the top of a mountain, which of course the path was wet and the stones were slipping. And it was a little tricky getting up there, but Geof was so thrilled to be there with the puffins, and he took thousands of pictures of them. And these are some of the thousands. He decided no one picture could show how they looked. And so here they all are, just sort of photoshopped happily and together. And it's a happy picture, a picture of puffins enjoying themselves. This is the only picture I took myself. We were at Greenwood Park, and I noticed that Geof and Holly, the dog, were just perfectly lined up against each other. And the light on the lake was very pretty too. And so it's not entirely my picture, because after I took it, Geof said that he could do something interesting to it with Photoshop. And so if you look closely at this picture, you see that he's embedded like Easter eggs. I think it was about 6 or 7 heads of himself in there. And some of them are a little scary looking, very serious. And I had even forgotten those heads were in the picture, and I brought it up, hung it up in the dining room. Oh, wait a minute, what's that? Oh yeah, that's the secret Geof heads that are hidden in. So I like that. It's a kind of special creepy effect. And it shows that this became his picture, even though I was the one who originally took it. Okay, so then this one is also, it doesn't have a title because it's one of the prints. And by the way, there are prints over here. If anybody wants to buy a print, it would cost $10 and it would benefit the gallery. This is a picture of a flamingo that he took somewhere on one of our trips. Do you ever have that happen, that you've gone a few places and they blur together? I think that might have been in the south of France, but I wouldn't swear to it. But anyway, it looks like he used some kind of special light filter to bring out the body of the flamingo and to make its color. It might even be color reversal. Is that possible, do you think? I don't know. Those of you who are real photographers, not pretenders like me, might. But anyway, it's a nice special effect. And this one also, a soccer picture. I know he used a special filter that would give a kind of blocking effect to it and accentuate the colors and make it more dramatic than it would be if it were just a shot of young men out there playing soccer. And then there's another waterfall. I don't know where that is, somewhere. And Yellowstone, Old Faithful, which is kind of a metaphor, I think, in a way, because Geof came so many years to the gallery. He loved being here. He would still be here as a faithful member if he could. And then this is another one of the prints. It's a color reversal, and it was taken in Colorado Springs at the home of a sculptor who had done many beautiful outdoor sculptures in metal. And it has the spiky effect, I think is kind of nice. I have a non-reversal version of that picture at home, and in a way I like the original better, but the reversal is very nice too. And then up above there is a photo called Phalaenopsis hybrid cat. Now this was one of my favorites because Geof he decided to turn this picture of an orchid into a cat. And so he got some eyes and he figured out a way to give it a little mouth. And so I've always loved that picture. I have it in my study. It's very playful. It's fun. And it shows you can take something that's deeply serious to you, like orchids, and make them into a cat. It's nice. This is one of Geof's Iceland pictures, and it shows the waves, the tide just withdrawing with a very dark shore. And so it's a somewhat somber picture, but I like the way that it focuses on that one rock and the idea of this one rock enduring and sticking it out through all of the tides. I'm not sure exactly why Geof picked that, but he took many photos of that rock, and he took framed several different sizes of prints of it also. So we have a multiplicity of that picture. And then lastly, one more orchid. And this is one of his orchids that he placed against a black background. And so you could see all of the details of the petals very well. It was very sharply outlined, and it just brings out the bones of the orchid, if you will, the way that it's structured, and makes it more dramatic and makes it a special sort of shot. So I guess that's about all I have to say. Thank you for listening. But if there are any ways that I can, without knowing all the craft of it, answer any questions about any of Geof's pictures, I would sure be glad to.
Was the one photographer that he came in with just photographs of flowers, and then look at where he went from there. I mean, he just, and when we did the COVID thing where we send the picture to the next person, it was always his that were very inspirational.
Oh, that's
They
so
were a
nice
lot
to
of
hear.
fun. He would play with them on the computer and send them along, like he did one of the faces on the stone and things like that. He did picnic ones, and he would change things around. And Mary Rose is the one that was right after him, and she always had a great time whenever he'd send something in.
Oh, that's great.
He really expanded from when he started.
That's really nice to hear. Thanks. Well, he always had such a good time, and he was so fond of all of you.
Yeah. Geof to me was always so kind, and I kind of see that in each of these photographs. It's just kind of like, here I'm giving you something wonderful.
That's so nice. Thanks.
Well, thank you very much, Libby.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for letting me speak.
Was there a question?
No.
No. Yeah, okay. Thank you for all attending, and we'll see you next time at the Cooperative Gallery.